Alright, today we're taking a trip back to the early 90s, a time when car manufacturers weren't afraid to collaborate and create something truly special. Enter DSM, which stands for Diamond Star Motors. This represents the trio of cars that became legends in the tuning world: the Mitsubishi Eclipse, the Eagle Talon, and the Plymouth Laser. These cars were co-produced by Mitsubishi and Chrysler, with the name Diamond Star coming from the combination of Mitsubishi's diamond-shaped logo and Chrysler's pentastar logo. These three cars might look like different badges slapped on the same body, but under the hood they share something much more significant: the mighty 4G63 engine. Today, we're going to be delving into what makes these cars so special, why they're loved by enthusiasts, and what you need to know if you're thinking about picking one up. But before we do that, hit the subscribe button so we can keep making videos like this for you. At the core of the DSM cars lies the 4G63 engine, a 2-liter turbocharged inline-4 that was nothing short of revolutionary for its time. This engine was ahead of its time, offering performance that was typically reserved for much more expensive sports cars. But not all 4G63s are created equal. The early models, those produced before 1992, featured the more desirable 6-bolt version of this engine. The 6-bolt 4G63 is known for its durability, and many consider it the holy grail of DSM power plants. However, in 1992, for some godforsaken reason, Mitsubishi made the switch to the 7-bolt engine of the 4G63. While this engine's still super capable, it brought with it a higher risk of a condition known as crank walk. Crank walk is a serious issue where the crankshaft moves excessively within the engine block, which can lead to catastrophic engine failure. It's the kind of problem that has haunted 7-bolt DSM's owners for years, and something you need to be aware of if you're looking to buy one of these cars. So you might be saying, Jake, well, what's the deal with 6-bolt versus 7-bolt, and how much does it matter? The terms refer to the number of bolts used to secure the flywheel to the crankshaft. The 6-bolt 4G63 engines found in DSMs built from 89 to 92 are revered for their robustness and resistance to crank walk. These engines have thicker crankshafts and beefier made bearings, making them more durable under high-stress, high-boost conditions, which is exactly what you want if you're planning to push big power, which if you're watching this video, you probably are. On the other hand, the 7-bolt engines found in models built from mid-92 onwards are more prone to crank walk, especially if modifications increase the engine's power output and the amount of boost in the cylinders. Symptoms of crank walk include a stiff clutch pedal, engine stalling when the clutch is pressed, and noticeable play in the crankshaft when checked manually, which if you're there, your engine's probably cooked already. If you're buying a DSM with a 7-bolt engine, it's crucial to check for these signs, or better yet, find one that's already been swapped with a 6-bolt engine. The DSM cars were available in various trim levels, with turbo all-wheel drive models like the Eclipse GSX, Talon TSI all-wheel drive, and Laser RS being all-wheel drive being the most coveted. Well, why, you might be asking? They came with turbocharged engines and all-wheel drive configurations, offering a level of performance that was reserved for more expensive cars at the time. The base model were front-wheel drive and non-turbocharged, which made them less desirable for performance enthusiasts, but the turbo all-wheel drive models, those were the real deal. With the ability to put power down to all 4 wheels, these cars could launch like a frickin' rocket, making them a favorite among drag racers and people who wanted to carve canyons alike. If you're shopping for a DSM today, the turbo all-wheel drive models are the ones to look for, but they're the hardest to find in good condition. These cars were often driven super hard, and their age means that many examples are now showing what 30 years of driving super hard can do to a car. Now, as much as I love DSMs, you can't ignore the fact that they come with their fair share of issues, but most of them are kind of old car BS, so it's kind of your call as to whether or not that's worth it for you. They might be performance bargains in your eyes, but they're also known for being pretty high maintenance, especially as they get older. The first issue we're going to talk about is crank walk. We've already touched on this with the 7-bolt engines, but it's really worth emphasizing again, it's not a problem to take lightly. If you're unlucky enough to experience crank walk, you're looking at basically a new engine, and 4G63s, well, they're expensive. Probably going to budget $5,000 or more if you run into this. Another common issue on the DSMs are transmission issues. These cars were often driven hard, and that means taking a toll on the gearbox. Worn synchros, gear grinding, difficulty shifting, exploded transfer cases, they're all symptoms of a DSM transmission that's seen better days. Rebuilding or replacing a DSM transmission can be expensive, and it only gets more expensive the older these cars get, so it's something to keep an eye out when shopping for one of these cars. Now, third up, issues with the turbo. The stock turbos are another weak point, especially if they've been run really hard or not properly maintained. Over time, the turbos can wear out, leading to decreased performance, but I don't really see this as an issue because most people are going to swap the stock turbo out. You're kind of goofy if you buy one of these cars and you keep the stock turbo unit on it, so you should just budget for a new turbo. There's really inexpensive all the way up to really expensive options, and that's just the route you should go. Now, fourth up, boost leaks and aging electronics. Boost leaks are another common gremlin for DSM owners. The older these cars get, the more likely it is that all those silicone and rubber hoses and seals will degrade. They will lead to leaks, robbing your engine of power and being a pain in the butt to track down. Diagnosing and fixing boost leaks is a headache, but it's essential for keeping your DSM running well and making that jam. On top of that, these cars are over 25 years old, which means their electronics are starting to show their age. Faulty sensors, failing ECUs, and random electrical gremlins are all part of the DSM ownership experience. It's something that you're just going to need to be prepared for if you're thinking about picking one of these cars up. I'd lump it in with just kind of general old car BS. If you're buying an old car, it's not new. I mean, you know that. So just be ready to deal with that. Despite their quirks and issues though, the DSMs are beloved by enthusiasts for one big reason. They have huge modification potential. It's an Evo on a budget. The 4G63 is an absolute beast when it comes to handling power, and with the right mods, these cars can be turned into monsters. So first, we're taking a look at some basic mods. If you're new to the DSM world, the standard turbo car upgrade path applies here. Start with an upgraded intake to help the engine breathe better. A front mount intercooler from brands like ETS or Mishimoto or eBay will help keep the intake temperatures down, which is crucial for making more power. A high flow downpipe, catless, catted, whatever you're into, and exhaust system from like Megan Racing, HKS, Apexi, there's a million of these things, will free up exhaust flow and increase horsepower, as well as giving your DSM an aggressive sound. They're really good sounding 4-cylinder, so you should make some noise. For those looking to make some real power, upgrading to a larger turbo is a must. The 16G turbo is a popular upgrade for DSM owners, offering a good balance between spool time and top end power. But if you're chasing big numbers, something like a Precision 6262 or a Borg Warning EFR, I like the EFR series personally, will get you into the 500 to 600 horsepower range with the right supporting modifications. Here's the best part though. The 4G63's stock bottom end is super stout, and you can make that kind of jam on a stock bottom end. Of course, if you're turning up the boost, you're going to need to upgrade your fuel system as well. I would recommend a Walbro pump, but honestly the Hellcat pumps are cheap now, so you should go with one of those. Get some larger injectors, FIC or IDs are great. Fuel pressure regulator, all the kind of standard fueling stuff. Realistically, just if you need to know about fueling, take your car to a shop. You're going to need to switch the engine management up. I like Haltech a lot. They are fantastic ECUs. They are a little bit on the expensive side, but buy once, cry once, and do it right. Not all about power though, all the time at least. The DSM's all-wheel drive system is fantastic for putting power to the ground, but the suspension could use some help, especially as it gets older. Coilovers from BC Racing, TN Silvers, HKS, there's a whole bunch of them, will dial in your perfect ride height and improve the handling characteristics of the car. You may need to upgrade your axles and your clutch depending on how much power you're making, and if you want to get really serious, you might want to add an upgraded LSD to help put the power down a little better. So why should you consider a DSM? Well, it's simple. These cars offer an unbeatable combination of affordability and performance. Yes, they come with their share of issues, but for those willing to put in the work, the rewards are absolutely immense. The DSMs punch well above their weight class, offering performance that can rival much more expensive cars at a fraction of the cost, and they haven't really been hit by JDM inflation for some reason. If you've ever wanted an Evo but you couldn't justify the price, a DSM's the perfect alternative. The 4G63 is basically the same as the Evo's 4G63, and with the right mods, a DSM can keep up or even outperform its more expensive sibling. It's not just about speed though. The DSMs have a unique place in automotive history as one of the best collaborations between American and Japanese car manufacturers ever. They're one of the first to implement turbo technology in an American car, which is interesting, and they represent a time when Mitsubishi and Chrysler came together to create something that was more than the sum of its parts, and that's something special. So let's tie it all back together and answer the question that is the title of this video. Should you buy a DSM? Well, the answer depends on what you're looking for. If you want a car that's cheap to buy, easy to mod, and offers incredible performance potential with some headaches, then a DSM is worth considering. It's important to go in with your eyes open though. These cars are not for the faint of heart. They require dedication, they require mechanical know-how, and they require a willingness to troubleshoot the issues that come up with owning a 25-plus-year-old turbocharged car. If you're up for the challenge, then the DSM Trio will pay that back in spades. These cars are raw, they're fast, and they're full of character, everything you want in a true enthusiast car. So if you're ready to take the plunge, start searching for that perfect Eclipse, Talon, or Laser. First gen is better, by the way, and get ready to join the ranks of DSM enthusiasts who know how special these cars really are. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon to turn on notifications, drop a comment down below with what car we should cover next, and I'll see you in the next one.